Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine, 221. We're in episode 6. I'm Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, my friend, my partner, the CEO and co-founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. What's up, my man?
Oh, man, ready to go. The New Year's in full swing now. January 15th, and it feels like everything is in full swing. We never had a break. We're just sprinting now. So, excited to get at it. We got a good topic today, one that's kind of close to my heart. We're talking about nostalgia. How come everything old is new again? 2016 is new in 26. I love that kind of nostalgia stuff and how it affects brands and things like that. So we're going to dig into all kinds of cool stuff today. But how are you doing?
Man, I'll tell you what, it is 64 degrees. It's been 70 most all week in Texas. I mean, you're in Arizona, so you kind of get it. Other folks I work with, they're going, oh, it's cold. It's like 3 degrees. It's like 4 foot of snow. It's those type of things. I'm like, going, yeah, keep it up there. I would take Southern Texas all the time, for this type of weather in January.
Oh yeah, and I won't tell anyone in Canada, but I go out for a walk in the evening, and it'll be like, holy cow, it's freezing. We're all bundled up and everything, and it's like a couple degrees below room temperature, but it feels cold after a nice warm day. So we live with it, but I don't say too much because Canada, at least where I'm from in Edmonton, has had a boatload of snow this year, epic snow this year. So it's been rough up there.
Yeah. So speaking of boatloads of stuff, we need boatloads of beer sponsors, right? So
Yes.
Boatloads of beer sponsors. And if you want to be one, because this is a new year, everyone last year signed up for the full year. We got 3 sponsors going right now. We're ready for more. We've got, first one is Karen Harrison, right? Up in Michigan, 3S Smart Consulting. She was, before the year even ended last year, she was already signed up for this year. So, if you need cash flow consulting, if you have a business that needs a little bit of help, go check out Karen. She is also an Amazon bestseller. So she's got a book out called, Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profit. Go check that out.
And I'm going to thank neighbor Pat because he always busts his chops. So I'm going to just give him an honest thank you, Pat, for supporting the show, supporting us for years now, actually supporting us. And I will also throw in, it's nice that you bring some beer down to Mike every once in a while, walk down the block and bring him some beer. That's I think I appreciate it more than Mike does.
Definitely appreciate it. So, and the last beer sponsor we're going to talk about is Devin. He is our Netflix superstar. Mm-hmm. I got a new story about Devin. Just got it. I mean, this is fresh, hot stuff. He's working on LSU campus. He's been trying to connect with the athletic department, and it happened. He got his first invite, right, by the athletic department to be a guest coach during a basketball game. He's going to be able to sit on the sideline, or I guess, what is it, the sideline in basketball? Whatever it is.
I have no idea. Courtside.
He's going to be sitting courtside with the team as a guest coach. I hope he gets a picture of it, because then I have a picture of him being the best LSU fan on Netflix, and then the assistant coach, right? The guest coach. How cool would that be to be invited to do something like that? Would that be cool?
That
would be cool.
That'd be just awesome.
Yeah. Couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't. I'd probably get up and try call a play or something. I mean,
I was just gonna say, Devin, make sure you just you actually tell them all the stuff you think they should do and make a complete nuisance of yourself.
Oh, and all the shit you do all the shit you do in the stands, like you're calling technicals and fouls and timeouts and stuff like that. Keep your hands down, because that shit's for real if you're sitting in the coach spot.
You tie your hands to your waist so you don't get in trouble.
Yeah,
Put
that's
a
right.
piece of duct tape over your mouth. Make sure you don't yell.
Yeah, you ever see those guys get 15-yard penalty because they get run into on the sideline by the referee? That would be me. I would stand up and get hit by the referee, and it would cause a technical for the team.
Well, and there's a coach. Oh man, what team was it from? I just saw it the other day. NFL coach has an assistant coach that the guy's entire job is to move him out of the way. And so they were showing clips, and the coach is sitting there standing, and the guy would grab him and just yank him back, and the coach was but he never takes his eye off the play. And this guy just moves him out of the way to make sure that no one runs into him. And he's getting pulled all over the place like a rag doll, but his eyes are always on the field. It's quite something.
That is crazy because I think it's a college coach. Yeah. I think it's a college coach that has that too, where he has a person and just make sure he doesn't commit the foul.
Would you like to have that? What do you do for a living? Well, I grab the coach and pull him off the field and push him on the field, and that's all I do. That's quite the job. Or maybe he's got some other role. He probably has some other role in the organization. I doubt that's his only job, but I guess who knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking, is there a role we could do here? I don't know. Maybe somebody could hold the camera. I ordered an eye contact camera because I bought this massive ass screen, right? It's 45 inches. I got it sitting down about as low as I can get it, and the camera still sits way up there. And I don't want to look like this the whole time.
I know. I can't see the screen then. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the screen. So I can't see you, right? I either look at the camera or look at you. So I bought one of those eye contact cameras last week, and I'm like, how come it's not here yet? I haven't even heard that it's shipped. So it's like, that's the impulse culture that we're in now, is that I should get that tomorrow. But it hasn't even shipped yet.
I just keep moving my window around the screen, so you can even tell me if I'm looking at you there, is that better? Or if I move it, well, that's probably not good at all, because then I'm actually looking all the way over there. So I keep moving my window around to try and get it, so it looks like I'm kind of facing forward anyway.
Well, and I got our screen all the way up to the top, but it still is
too much. Yeah,
6 inches from the top of your picture, and it is a good 8 inches from the top of your head. So if I look at the top of your head, it's still looking down to the camera.
Yeah. See, that camera, I think my camera is probably sitting somewhere around here. So even though I'm looking down at the screen, at least the camera is not in a bad place. So
yeah, I think that's the rule, right? You're supposed to have like the top of your, what the hell is that called? The top of your screen, your monitor at eye level. Because I've been doing a lot of reading on it, so that's the proper use of a top mounted camera, is that you put the top of the monitor at your eye level.
Okay, I probably need a taller chair, but I don't know.
There is nobody that thought that they would. Yeah, there's nobody thought they would learn something in this podcast. And look, that's something you can take home and put to work today.
And we haven't even talked about the beer yet, and we had a learning for you. We're kicking off 26 right.
Yeah. That wasn't even BS. That was like straight up knowledge.
We might have changed the title of the show: Biz Beer BS and Insightful Comments.
Flashes of brilliance.
Flashes of brilliance. Did you know? Another Mike and Blaine did you know moment. All right. Well, what beer are you drinking today? Now that we have our beer sponsors. By the way, always forget, if you want to be a beer sponsor, just go to mikeandblaine.com, buy us a beer, $5 a beer, and we will mention you on the show. That's why we have sponsors go all the way to the end of the year already, because they just like to be mentioned on the show when we promote them. So mikeandblaine.com, make sure you also like, subscribe, follow. But what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a Neighbor Pat beer, right? He's into fruity beers right now, right? He's in the fruity. Remember like a month ago, I had that thing called Nordic Jam by a new little brewer out of, I think it's Austin.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's called Pitchers. Yeah, Two Pitchers Brewing.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember where they're at. Yeah, Two Pitchers Brewing. Well, anyway, so he keeps bringing down. This says no funny business on it, but it looks kind of funny. So he brought down a Radler. Now, you ever had a Radler? It's like drinking an Orange Crush or something like that, a grapefruit crush or blood orange. I mean, yeah, but But anyway, they do fruit beers, fruit flavored beers really well. They're very
cool.
pungent. They're just really good. So he's kind of in this kick. He went and bought a variety pack. So this is 2 out of the variety pack he brought down here, but pretty good stuff. So this is grapefruit and blood orange is what I'm having today.
Nice.
You?
Nice.
What you got?
Okay, well, I went to my fridge and we had an overwhelming amount of Drecker's. Drecker's is a terrific brewery, but Drecker's fruited sours, and they're these big, heavy, thick sours, and they almost taste like a fruit punch, and almost like a slushy. They're so thick, and they're delicious. But if I took one on the show and drank it, my wife would disown me because it's her favorite beer. So I went in the fridge and found it, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to promote these guys again because I love the brewery, and it's Pinnacle Brewing in Scottsdale, but it's also, these guys do a bunch of stuff for rescues, and they always feature the rescue. Now, what is the name of the shelter? Foothills Animal Shelter in Scottsdale. So I thought, you know what? I got another one of those in the fridge. One of our neighbors was so gracious to actually give us a bunch of beer because they don't drink much beer, and gave us all of these. And so I wanted to feature them again, kick off the year right, and make sure that I'm promoting Pinnacle, but also I love the fact that they work and promote rescues. So that's really fun.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one before. So I think it's been around for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I showed this one late last year. And then of course everyone goes on holidays and forgets about everything. I thought, well, here's a chance for me to just promote them one more time, and promote the Foothills Rescue as well. So
yeah, right on. So let's talk about nostalgia. Here's where this comes about. If you guys are like going, hey, this is different than Mike and Blaine, Business Beer and BS. What we're doing this year is we're connecting to relevant now topics, what people are talking about this week, right?
Yeah.
And so what I chose to do is I went, what's trending? That always kind of tells you what's trending, like hashtags and topics and things like that. And this thing where like 2026 is the new 2016 or versus. And now that we've talked about it, I assume that it's, 10 years later, what's changed, right? But what caught my eye was something that I've been seeing over and over and over again. And as soon as I saw the topic, I'm like going, oh my God, you know what I've seen twice in the last week is the Wendy's Where's the Beef commercial. I'm like going, how am I seeing that, right? Like an old brand, a current brand, going back in time and kind of showing their Where's the Beef commercial from 80s or something like that, 80s or 90s. So,
yeah.
So I'm looking at it, 2016. I'm like, why is that trending? And outside of 10 years, and it's trending because that was where the explosion of memes and the explosion of like GIFs or GIFs and GIF. We debated that before. Whatever you're going to call it that. And Snapchat filters and all that came onto the scene. So it's kind of interesting to go back. And that's why in my description, I think that you SEO'd, I talked about looking at it through a Snapchat dog filter because that was the one that got everybody's attention, which means you put the camera in front of your face and all of a sudden you had the dog ears and the dog tongue coming out or the dog nose on, and boom, the internet changed, right? There. So that's where this started, right? And what I want to talk about is just, it's really cool to kind of go back in time and go, yeah, I remember that. Or it's interesting. Or like Mallory, who's a senior in high school, has songs I can't even understand the words to, but she loves all the songs we knew. So it's one of those songs. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe we didn't do too bad back then.
Well, and oh man, like 2016, when you say 2016, I kind of feel like, well, wasn't that like yesterday?
It wouldn't.
But then when you start saying, okay, here's what happened in 2016. And I start thinking back and I'm like, yes, that's interesting. I can remember when Twitter came out, it was like 2007. And then like 10 years later, it sort of transformed from people just writing these little to lots of visuals, like you said, the memes and everything. But I think that because things change so fast, maybe that's why people get comfortable with nostalgia, because everything's changing so fast. There's always something new. There's almost nothing to hang on to. And I think brands have to recognize that too, because you race forward, and you're on the latest trends. But do you just get kind of lost in the shuffle? And man, maybe just being sort of the comfortable chicken noodle soup is the way to go at times, right?
Anyway, here's something that really connected with me, like, again, in the last month. And I think I've thought about it before, but I didn't think about it as much. Do you remember when you were a kid that all the music that they played, maybe at football games or hockey games or in an elevator or whatever, it seemed like it was like 20 years behind
Mhm.
you? Meaning that, I'm 12. I know what, Madonna and Michael Jackson, all that is. And why are you bringing out the Rolling Stones? Why are you bringing out, what's his name? James Brown. These, I'm like,
Yeah.
it always seemed like what I was seeing on TV as a kid or as a teenager or as a young adult was always like 20 years back. I'm like, man, why are they doing that? Now I'm hearing our stuff is oldies, right? From the 80s and 90s, and they play that everywhere. I'm like going, holy shit. That's where businesses have figured out. It's like the secret that they keep, that they are not talking to the young person who has no money. They're talking to the person our age who has the money.
There's money.
Right?
Exactly.
And they're making an experience for them, not for the young, new people, hip people, trendy people. It's for the people that have the money, the age group. So I'm like going, oh, wow. It's not just nostalgia. This connects to business all the way through, because you've identified that that's the best group to target because they can afford whatever it is you have.
Yeah. And typically that's a group that connects with, like, they love the nostalgia, but they don't necessarily, like, young people connect with new, everything's new, want the new, want the latest, want the new. By the time you get to kind of our age, it's less typical that you're always looking for the new, like the latest. I'm never up in the latest music. I do listen to a lot of new music, but it's in genres that I guess sound like feel comfortable to me, right? So it's not I don't even know what the latest is, right? And so what they're doing is they're saying, well, let's make the people that matter to us, that are going to buy from us and be great customers from us, how do we make them comfortable? And how many times have you heard, like, 20 years ago, there was music that, was so edgy, the kind of stuff that, I'd probably get in trouble with from my mom for having the album, if I got caught with it.
Yeah.
And now it's playing in nice restaurants, and just it was probably playing in the grocery store, because it doesn't seem edgy anymore. It seems nostalgic. So how did it go from edgy to familiar and comfortable? It felt like overnight, but obviously it wasn't overnight.
Repetition, right? I mean, it was the numbing of the senses. You're like, oh, well, okay. Nothing happened. We thought it was the end of the world when we heard it the first time. And then after 10, 15, 20 years, you're like, going, well, nothing burnt down. Nobody really got hurt. Nobody, so who cares?
Wasn't it Ozzy that did he have to testify in front of, what is the Senate or the, I think, didn't Judas Priest have to do Twisted Sister? A whole bunch of them actually, like, had to.
Hell, Elvis did.
Yeah. And now it's like, just in the playing in the grocery store. It's fine, right? It's comfortable.
Yeah. So 2016, what was your life like? What were you doing?
Man, still, it feels like yesterday, but 2016.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that much change, but there's a little bit of change.
Honestly, like, unfortunately, they were like, what am I going to say? There's not much. We were probably sitting down in Scottsdale in this office working on the same stuff, it to some degree, right? Like, it doesn't feel like a year of massive change. It was maybe early in our tenure of spending our winters down in Arizona. but it does not feel that different to me. But for people that are immersed in pop culture, it's a decade and it's a complete flip of everything, right? But it doesn't feel long enough to me to be nostalgic. But young people for 10 years, the difference between 10 years old and 20, or even 20 and 30 is massively significant. And I think they're immersed in that culture. But I don't know, did 2016 feel that much different to you?
See, 2016 to me was a huge transition in my life, right? Because I went from like, at Finnegraph from 12 to probably 15, we were just struggling. We were trying to do whatever we could to get out there. By 16 is I was already starting to do bank seminars, and I was traveling at least once a month around the country to do that. And I think 16 might have been the year that we got Wells Fargo as a client. And I was doing 8 seminars around the country, like 3 different locations, 8 seminars, probably, I'm going to say if you do 8 times 50, 400, 500 bankers just in one account per year I was training. That's when all that changed. And that's when I think my skill as a presenter and a person that could stand in front and tell a story with financial statements from a PowerPoint slide came to life. I think that's where I really kind of blossomed. So if I look back now, that's probably where I could do it before, but I really got good at it that year.
Yeah. Like in 2016, we had released at some point in that year, we released our sort of MVP, our first commercial version of Dry Run. And so what I will say is, like, if I look back, I thought, well, maybe we were at all these events and everything. That was after. That was like 2017 all the way up to COVID, 2017, 18, 19. Because 2017 was a big year for us because we'd only been in the market for a little while, and Intuit selected us as a top 10 new app, and then suddenly we're down in California, and we started on this trolley train of being at every event in person for like 3 years. We were always at an event, always at a booth, and then 2020 hits and everything stops. And so it was, I guess it was, when I think about it now, I'm like, wow, that actually was quite a long time ago. And there was actually all these experiences and all of this that's happened over the last 10 years. Just none of it had happened yet. It was kind of barely past an idea in our head at that point. So that's interesting to think about it that way, that how much has changed in 10 years. And frankly, when we released Dry Run, cloud software was still like, you're kind of the new kid on the block doing cloud software. And 10 years later, that's totally different.
Because back then we were still having the objection with Finnegraph. Cash flow tool didn't come around till 17. But we had the Finnegraph dashboard that we were using, and the big and this other product we had called BBC Easy. And our big thing was connecting the integration to QuickBooks, the integration to 10 different things, which back then was a big deal. Oh my God, I don't have to type anything. I can just do this. You would think today, you're like going, shit, that's a game changer. It was, except for the fact that you had all the players, the big accounting firms, the big banks saying, no, we cannot share data. Or the banks were saying, there's no way a business owner is going to give me access to their financial statements. Today, it's like going, yeah, I'd rather. I don't want to print, scan, fax, type. I don't want to do any of that. I'd rather you just connect, you get the data, and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's changed dramatically, transformed dramatically. Take those things for granted, to be honest. I really have to think back and go, wow, that was before all of this happened, right? Like, it's strange how it doesn't feel like a long time ago until you realize how much has changed in the last 10 years. And then suddenly it's pretty dramatically different, right?
Yeah. what 4 years before COVID. And I think the big defining line in my life is COVID anymore. That's in my mind. I'm going, it's either BC or AC, because I think even I changed. Yeah. That's when I changed.
Yeah. It changed the entire world, and everyone still feels the effect. And there's permanent changes that changed over such a short time, over like a year or two. It was 10 years and change in a year or two. Now, a lot of it not positive, right?
Prior to COVID, I hated getting on camera. I hated doing this. There's no way you and I would have been having this podcast prior to COVID, because I wasn't comfortable on camera. I wasn't comfortable talking to another person, on the computer screen. I don't know why. It just, I grew up my whole life of not doing that. So all of a sudden when you do it, it's way different.
Yeah. And, like my business I had set up remotely. And so we were used to being, I don't even think it was on Zoom at the time. When we started, it was on probably Skype or something like that. But we were only a year into it, or 2 years, like that. It was still new, but it was, by the time COVID hit, we'd been doing it for a little while. So it wasn't that new anymore. But we weren't doing I don't even think podcasts had existed then, did they? Podcasts didn't exist in 2016, did they?
Oh, easy. Yeah. You can ask Chelsea that, but definitely podcasts probably been around. I don't know. I'm going to say early 2000s, maybe 2010.
It could be. I don't think very many. It was probably the, it's probably like the edge case, like the very early adopters.
Yeah, right. But it to me, it was like it was low quality, terrible radio. So I'm like going, I'm not listening to the radio. There's no way I'm going to listen to a podcast. Right? Because I'd already moved.
There was stuff, but the term podcast started being used around 2003, 2004. In 2005, Apple added it to iTunes. So, man, it's been around a lot longer than I thought. Except that no one listened to him. Like, it's not like, and I think actually COVID, the fact that everyone was stuck inside with nothing to do, that's a lot of what exploded user generated content, and podcasts are one of the big ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, cause I looked up 2016, and the other thing that popped open that year, and I don't know if you ever did it, was Pokemon Go.
No, I've heard of it, but I really don't.
You never seen it? Hell, I ain't going to. I'm not gonna lie. I tried it. I couldn't. I couldn't figure it out. Like, it was the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, because I wasn't into Pokemon, so I wasn't. I'd never seen a cartoon. I had no idea what I was looking at or looking for. And then I heard that, oh my God, it's a way for them to collect data and map everything that was happening in the world, right? Which was, the inside of your house. I'm like, I don't want somebody to map the inside of my house. I don't want them to.
Sounds about right. Well, like I was CAPTCHAs, like, to prevent bots from logging into websites. And, when you're identifying pictures or the words and all of that, it's just training. It's training bots. Yeah. It actually offends me a little bit every time I got to fill one of those in. And I know I'm like training the stupid bot, and I can't say it the wrong way, like, because you have to do it, right?
Yeah. Why can't you figure out what a crosswalk looks like?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm teaching it, and I ain't getting paid to teach it. And so, but what a clever way to do that, right?
Think about it differently. You are saving lives, because that type of knowledge goes into those self-driving cars. I want you to know what a bridge is. I want you to know what a crosswalk is, and a motorcycle,
or the Waymo we were in on December 21st, because it was our anniversary, and we took a Waymo for dinner. Could not get out of the parking lot when we left. I don't know if I told you this. We were in the car, but it was a really dark parking lot, like down in Phoenix here. There's no Wisconsin. They don't have a lot of lights. They don't have a lot of street lights or anything. They like to have, cut down on air, light pollution, they call it. And so the parking lot was relatively well lit, but the exit from the parking lot to a side street that would go out to the main street was really dark. And so we're in this car and it's going around and also slams on the brakes. And I'm like, what are you stopping for? And then it's backing up and going the other way. Then it's driving all the way to the back of the parking lot and all the way around. And pretty soon I'm like, no, go that way. Take a right. I'm trying to coach it. And I'm like, man, am I going to have to call support? And it did about 3 or 4 laps of the parking lot. And I'm like, but it's a little different every time. So I was trying to figure it out. And about the 4th time around, it hesitated and then it kind of went and then it found its way. And it was like I was, trying to coach a kid that's never driven a car before.
All right. So I had a similar experience with a Lyft driver, a real person.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me.
After a basketball game in Waco, Courtney, I, and her parents call Lyft, jump in the Lyft, reeks of weed. This guy just, the whole car just reeks of weed. I'm like, damn, I don't think we should be in this car. So I sit in the front. He can't get out of the parking lot. I'm like going, hey man, you want me to drive? I just have to get like half a mile away. I don't have to get that far, but I can't have, 70-year-olds walking a half a mile or a mile or wherever it was. Yeah. I'm like going, I'll drive. He could not. I said, you got to make a left here. And he even miss it and he'd go right. And it's like, he had to be just loaded doing his job.
And I've had people say like, well, how would you ever I would not trust a robot car. And I'm like, have you been in any like these Ubers or Lyfts lately? Because half the time you get in and they're, the seat's leaning back and they got their phone in one hand, maybe a second phone in the other hand. And usually like there's too many times you go in and go, I got some weed going on some point today. That's not a real comfortable feeling, right? Like and then I get into the robot car and I'm like, it's not smoking weed at least. So once you can drive us somewhere here, they've been pretty good. Like the little Waymos have done a pretty good job, except for getting a little puzzle, but he did figure it out. So,
there might be the check the creek bug that's going through. Somebody plants a bug in the software that goes, you should check every creek for the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, well,
exactly. I don't know if I want to trust it that much. I guess they're coming out with the vans now. These like little vans that are Waymo, a little bit bigger Waymo vans or something. So,
hey, would you ever do, because they're talking about like these autonomous helicopter things that can also do what does it just drops down, picks you up, you get in, maybe it's a 2-person or 4-person, little personal helicopter, and it goes. Would you do that?
Yeah. If you ask me, I'll say, yeah, there's no way I'm going to do that. But there's also no way I was going to do a robot car. And I'll say that and I'll be like, there's no way I'm going to take that. I'm like, hey, helicopter. Off we go. So one of these days, maybe I'll be like, I took a helicopter over to downtown. But I don't know. That makes me a bit more nervous, right? Like if I don't have a parachute, that seems to be a little more nerve wracking than asking the car to pull to the side of the road.
Yeah. How would you ever make people feel safe with that? Until it's like 10-year-old technology, like, oh no, it's been doing forever. They've, did it.
That's a full circle back to the weed. that's the early adopters.
Hey, but let's think about nostalgia now. Now go back to the first people that got on the train, then the first person that got in the airplane. Just as a passenger, not as anything else. Just like I guess I'm gonna trust that person. I mean, I've seen him do dumb shit, but I'm gonna trust him right now with this up in the air.
I will say I've been probably a lot more nervous being a passenger in cars with friends that have way too much power in their car and we're showing off. So that way more uncomfortable, right?
Oh, my buddy Chad had a Grand National and that thing just scared me the way it just took off. I'm like, oh man. So I'm glad you know how to drive. A former police officer, so I felt a little bit more comfortable with his driving. But the car was something that under anybody else's hands probably would not be a fun ride.
Yeah, no, I've had a few of those rides. One was in a Nissan GTR, the Godzilla, and I swear my face was plastered against the window half the time because it cornered better than I could sit. But kind of fun,
Yeah. So,
kind of scary.
so what's your thought on memes, right? Okay, now let's take memes to the business perspective, right? Because, and the reason I'm bringing up memes because that was 2026 where they kind of just started really gaining popularity, where somebody could take just a
Or
random
2016.
picture. Yeah,
I think, yeah.
2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, take a random picture of somebody making a dumb face and that became a meme with different words on it. Right. So,
Yeah. Surprisingly, like they some of them are really good. Like they are humorous.
yeah.
And they're low quality and they're kind of silly, but some of them can be really clever and kind of funny. I cannot think of a business doing a meme where they pulled it off. It feels to me like you hope maybe that your customers might do something and promote, but I don't think businesses are good at that. They're always bad at humor and that sort of stuff.
I'm gonna look it up, but I was thinking Wendy's was the one that is one of the better ones at memes.
They might be because they've got a really good, well, I don't know if it's good, but they definitely have a track record of having a very kind of snarky and non-corporate X or Twitter account, right? So maybe they do have some memes. I don't remember seeing any, but
okay, so that's the thing though. If you try to do any of those type of trends as a business, are you changing your corporate identity, the way people look at you?
Wendy's did. Wendy's, I think
Wendy's had to. I think they had to.
But they probably had to, and they bet the company on it. But the only way Wendy's pulls it off is that cannot be those comments on Twitter and those memes cannot be made in a boardroom. They're literally trusting their team. I'm guessing there's a team, but they're trusting their team to do some really outrageous things that are very likely to get them canceled. But that's sort of what we've also learned about cancel culture is oftentimes it seems that the people that cancel you weren't buying from you anyway. The people that are buying from you don't care.
That's why I think. Yeah, that's why I think it lost it. Yeah, I think that's why cancel culture kind of is lost or is losing its steam. You can't cancel people anymore. You can't cancel brands anymore. I don't think. I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong.
Unless you do something that completely upsets your core customer. But if you know your customer and you keep your culture, your company culture and everything in line and your brand in line with your customer, and you don't care if you're pissing off other people, but as long as you don't upset your customer. And I think a lot of those brands, and Wendy's is a great example. They built up their customer base by having that kind of snarky attitude, and they've stuck with it. But boy, they have to be brave. Could you imagine the CEO? How nervous that CEO must have been watching their Twitter feed for the first while when they took a leap of faith like that.
Yeah. But I think they were being overshadowed so much. I mean, Chick-fil-A came on, Whataburgers come. I mean, all these, I'm saying those because I'm in Texas in the South, but all these brands were really starting to elevate in fast food, and they were becoming the nostalgia brand. Like they were still the where's the beef brand, like Arby's is done now, right? Arby's. Yeah. I mean, do you even consider Arby's anymore? I mean,
I don't think I didn't know Arby's was still around. I can't even picture one. I can't picture driving by one.
And I went to one. I'm like going, damn. I went by one. I'm like going, damn. I ain't had a roast beef sandwich from Arby's in a long time. So I dropped in and got one. And Jeff, the marketing guy, was with me, and he goes, oh, I've been wanting to try these steak bites or whatever they got. I don't think of going to Arby's for steak bites, but that's me, right? They are roast beef sandwiches. That's about it.
I that's the only thing I can picture from them is the roast beef sandwich and 2 sauces. Like one's a horseradish with no horseradish,
and it's so good.
Barbecue sauce.
I actually buy the horsey sauce, right? That's what they call it, the horsey sauce, at the grocery store, HEB, in a container, and I put it down on my sandwiches at lunchtime.
Really?
It's so good.
I haven't had it in so long. I can't even picture it. I just know. I remember that there were two sauces: the barbecue sauce and the horseradish sauce. But I literally, I'm going to have to go on a map and see if is there still an Arby's is there Arby's in Scottsdale? I have no idea. I can't even picture one. I don't think I've seen them in years. But it might be like blindness, banner blindness almost. You're driving by and just don't notice it.
So when I grew up, it was all about, I liked their ham and cheese, right? My grandpa, my dad, they would get the roast beefs and I would get the ham and cheese. As I got older, I wanted more flavor, right? And that's kind of, when we talk about whiskey and scotches, remember that episode, Whiskey Scotches? We talk about, my Scotch bucks aren't in yet because it's a flavor I haven't developed the taste for. Well, now I don't like the ham and cheese as much, but I love the roast beef with this horsey sauce. And you call it barbecue sauce, but if you're a real Arby's guy, you would know it's called Arby's sauce.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not a real Arby's guy. I think I had hair and it was dark and no beard last time I had Arby's. But I will say I'm going to convert you on Scotch because you've only had these super heavy peaty Scotches. There's non-peaty Scotches that are absolutely amazing that you just haven't tried. So that
you promised a trip. Hey, you know who screwed us on a trip this weekend? He was supposed to be here this weekend. Baltimore Mike is in Austin.
Oh, really?
He was supposed to be here, and at the last minute, he goes, "Oh, my grass has grown too tall in Baltimore through the snow, so I have to go home and snow blow the yard," or something like that. It was some crazy excuse that he had that he couldn't just stay an extra day. He's an hour away from me. Oh, for you, he'll pack an extra carry-on suitcase, and he'll take 45 beers. He'll take 45 beers to Scottsdale.
Yes,
but he can be an hour away from me and never show up.
Well, I guess I don't know. You got to take care of. I don't know how you take care of a lawn and snow at the same time. That's a little suspect.
It's like a girl that has to blow dry her hair instead of go out with you or something like that. It's like the craziest excuse ever for him not being able to, meet up with a buddy.
And I don't know why you'd rush back to snow. I would never ever rush back to snow. Couldn't get me to rush back to snow.
I don't know. He's just, he reminds me of Pat, Pat, all these guys, I mean, they got quirks.
We don't. Zero quirks between you and me. Nothing. No one will be ever point a quirk out on this.
Except for you got the Japanese. Look at the difference in quality. I have a True Classic right off the internet. True Classic black t-shirt. You got one of those $450 Japanese merino cotton t-shirts,
Most of that didn't even make sense.
I don't know what it is. Look at how much better. Look how much better your t-shirt is than mine. Yeah,
I know, and it's so comfortable. It feels like I got nothing on. It's just so smooth. And by the way, this is Unbound Merino, Canadian company, Unbound Merino. Check them out because, man, I love their shirts. Now the denim I got on is from Japan. Okay, the denim I have on is from an old guy that has an antique loom that's been around for like 50 years and hand weaves the denim.
He makes 3 pair a year, and you buy 2 of them.
Probably makes 3 pair a year, actually. Maybe not quite that bad, but it's but I love the denim. Japanese salvage denim. So
that's funny. So, all right. So here's the thing about nostalgia. It kept coming up. Everything I've been seeing, I don't know, maybe I looked at 2 of them and now that's the whole feed. All of these old commercials, all of these old things, you're a 70s kid. Let me ask you, 70s, 80s, 90s, what do you call yourself? Is it when you're a teenager? That's who you are? I'm an 80s kid because I was a teenager during that time, or I'm a 70s kid because of that? When do you determine what decade you are?
That's a good question. I picture myself as an 80s kid because now I was around in the 70s, but I think 80s was the formative years when I went through junior high and into high school, and I
See?
graduated in 91. So most of my formative school years through junior high, high school, where you're sort of transitioning from a kid to by the time you graduate, it's kind of you're an adult, was in the 80s. But then obviously going through like those university days and all of that 90s culture and grunge culture and everything that hit all at once as I'm becoming sort of an adult, I would say I'm an 80s kid, but then the 90s were such a formative time because that was when you're in your early 20s, right? And then since then, just like a blur, and I lost a bunch of hair and turned gray.
Yeah, so I think that's the right way. I think it's how most of us identify, because I'm like you. I'm an 80s kid. Courtney's a 90s kid because same reason, right? Most of her teenager years were in the 90s. And so I think that's what it is. So if I go back, the argument that we have just in fun, like in the backyard, is what's a better generation? Is it the 80s kids who really didn't see computers and technology and all that until the
80s.
90s?
Guaranteed.
Yeah, but
80s.
you had it then, but in the 90s it became part of your life.
Yeah,
Where the 90s kids that had to use it in high school and all that type of stuff because it was already kind of mainstream.
I think it depends, I guess, what context you're looking at. But I would just say the 80s kids were the last real generation that were I'll say that they were the Stand By Me generation, like or the Goonies generation, where you could leave the house and be gone all day. Summer vacation, you leave the house in the morning, you come back at dinner time, and then you leave the house again for a couple hours till sunset. And you're out with your friends and you're spending all the time with your friends, and you get to explore and do all kinds of things, and frankly, probably get into trouble every once in a while, but nothing serious. I don't know when that disappeared, but it felt like it started to disappear in the 90s. And by the time you get to 2000, I don't think kids leave the house. And I think that's an enormous shame and just from the experiences that they miss out on growing up, that they're, you're independent very early. And that's why I think the 80s were such a precious time.
Yeah, but do you think that's because, well, I mean, it's more dangerous, or we know about more danger?
I think we know about
Right.
more danger.
I think
is a
that's
huge
what it
part
is,
of it.
right? Yeah, because I think that the crime still existed. It just that we didn't see it on the news feed all day, or the social media feed all day, or we just didn't see or hear or talk about these things the same way in the 80s and 90s. I think it still existed. I think I was still just as in danger to be abducted as a
Probably,
12-year-old running around town as my 12-year-old today. Yeah, if I had a 12-year-old.
I think it likely would be the same. Like, I remember when we were a kid, you're like, don't talk to strangers. You're always watching out for the weird white van. I don't know why I was always white, but that's what we always were worried about, the big weird white van with no windows.
Yeah.
I think it has, now I don't know, you'd have to look at statistics, but I suspect it may even be safer today than it was, or maybe not, because there's a lot of other things. They didn't have fentanyl, and they didn't have, like there's other things that are in this generation. But I really think a lot of it is you just don't get inundated with data and with news.
Yeah.
Because like now, if a kid went missing, it's international news. Hundreds of millions of people, if not billions of people, will hear about it for 2 weeks straight, and it makes it seem like it happens in every single neighborhood, when the reality is it's one out of almost 500 million people in North America or something like that. And it's such a top of the news over and over again, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I think when I was a kid, the only kid really abduction or weird story I heard about, I don't even think it was an abduction I heard about. But you remember that baby Jessica that fell into a well or something like that? That's one of the only names that I can remember
that,
from back then, right?
Yeah.
I'm going, well, so it happened so rare, I think, because you didn't hear about it as often, you didn't consider it as dangerous.
Yeah. And truthfully, it's because like we had 4 channels and one was French and all 4 were kind of fuzzy. Now you did get a newspaper and it was thick. Yeah, an actual big, thick newspaper. But honestly, did anyone like really read much? It just was such a different time, right? There just is such a different time than it is now where, and I think it's information overload as people can't, like doom scrolling, people cannot, function in a healthy way with technology today. And, I think we'll see the effects of that over the years.
Yeah. So what was funny is I saw an AI generated video of what a routine activity in the 70s, 80s would have looked like today, right? And so picture this: two boys, not guys, two boys, one on a bike, one next to him, a ramp, and it has a wooden ramp, and it's got 3 cinder blocks. Then they have 4 kids. Yeah. But then they have 4 kids on the other side of this where he's going to try to run his bike up the ramp and jump over 4 kids. Okay. And the 2 boys had this conversation about, I don't know if this is really safe. I don't know that we should do it. And they decide not to do it because of that.
Yeah.
And, that all the people that are down below that were going to get jumped over start saying that they suck. Right? You suck. I'm like going, wow, we didn't even think like that. We didn't think like, wow, somebody could get hurt if this lands right on you. We could probably, kill some kid. Never even thought about that. Now I wouldn't have jumped 4 over like going, that's pretty far. I don't think I
can do some test runs. You do some test runs and you go, okay, how far did you think I got? That's how it went.
And then maybe you have one guy start off. You have one, right? And he gets as close to the end of the ramp as he can, right? And then maybe even turns on his side to make himself a little skinnier so he can go over that. That was danger back then. Not 4 kids laid out in the street. That came about because people would tell stories saying, well, we used to just jump over the neighbors on these ramps. But in reality, they were as close to the cinder block as they could be and as skinny as they could get. And hopefully the back tire would maybe skim them.
But you think about how many things we did as kids that you would do for yourself. I would try something on a bike. I would take a jump on my own by myself.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to try it, not because I was getting egged on, and certainly not because somebody was going to film it and wanted to post it for everybody to see.
There was none of that. Yeah.
It was the most often it was probably you had some friends around, like, our little gang of friends on our little skateboard ramp, and we would do things, and you were, maybe at times probably trying to show off in front of the 4 or 5 friends that were hanging around. But that was it. And it's changed so much because, and if you wipe out, they all laugh and then you're off, but it's not going to live on the internet for the next 6 years. Yeah, exactly. So it's that there's no privacy anymore. There's no, everything is recorded and that can't be healthy for people.
All right. So is there a place for nostalgia in a brand? Let's kind of wrap this up.
Definitely.
I mean, is there a place? Yeah.
I think there definitely is. Because, the like you talked about all of this, the meme culture, doom scrolling, everything, the amount of information that floods in, it's, a lot of it's low quality, a lot of it's junk. It just is in one eye and out the other, in one ear and out the other, or however it is. But I think it also is, it almost promotes anxiety. And nostalgia, I think in a lot of ways is what is sort of that area of comfort. Like it can calm things down. It can be a comfort, and it can slow the brain down and get people looking at your brand. And like you look back here, I got a record player. I got a bunch of albums. I got a watch that's analog. I've got I love a lot of analog and nostalgic things because it offsets, it balances out the the constant buzz, right? And I think brands can do that, and they can do it I think it's a lot easier to do that well, or do it decently, than trying to do a meme and humor and go viral and all of that. You can't do that. Just be legit, and you know.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you. I mean, again, I saw like Juicy Fruit do just replay one of their videos. It's shine up your skis, it's those type of things. And not that I'm going to go buy Juicy Fruit today, but it brought it back front of mind, and I could sing the song, and I could, it brought back that memory. There was a hit of good, right? There was a smile. There was a good feeling that came across it. So all of your customers, especially the ones that have been with you for years, maybe decades, maybe even longer than 1 or 2 decades, there's a feeling that they relive when they see something from a nostalgic time. That's the connection. It reconnects you to that brand.
So I just want to pop into something here quickly, because like I saw we were talking not too long ago about the new design for Jaguar and where they went with that. And then that designer just got fired. I think it was last week or the week before. And I'm curious where they're going now. But
did you see it? Did you see the new one? I think it's 27. Huh?
That's what I think they're abandoning that. They fired that guy.
Oh, no kidding. Because I actually like the newest, not where they're at today. The one that like Car and Driver says, the one you need to watch for in the future.
Yeah, it's the weird like blue one and the pink one and all that with the big wheels and all that.
No, it's more. It almost looks like a more like Lincoln Continental, but still a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, I just saw it Monday, I think.
Okay, I'll take a look, because I'm curious where they're going to go with that. But one of the things I'm seeing with electric cars is every electric car that's coming out, it's like trying to be the most futuristic, robotic looking thing. Now, with what we're talking about now, would it work to come out with like a 1975 Chevy truck that's actually brand new and electric? Like, would you be able to play on some of that nostalgia when everybody else is going Star Wars, Star Trek? Where could you work in some of that nostalgia and bring some sort of, different, be different in the market?
Yeah. Did I tell you how the Cybertruck got its shape?
Yeah, wasn't it with Elon Musk's kid or something? I can't remember the story though.
No, it's actually more sensical than that. Because you got to remember that the steel that they use is bulletproof, right? Or it's heavy gauge. They can't bend it. They can only make straight lines with it, right? They can only make straight lines with it. They can't bend and shape it like they can the thin metal of the cars today. That's the reason why it's shaped the way it is, because they can only cut it into, rigid parts.
Okay, but what's really fascinating is that's not what they said. So what they did is
that's what Elon said last month.
But originally when the Cybertruck was announced, he said it was because his kid said, how come all trucks look the same or something like that? And I think it's interesting because it's a better story. And it does weave into the role of storytelling into a narrative, rather than just like, well, we can't bend the middle, so this is what you get.
Well,
right?
but there's probably some truth in both of those.
Oh, I imagine there is.
Yeah.
But you double down on the story, the one that people will connect with. But also, it's a little bit of, again, there's the story. Nostalgia weaves right into story, right? Like it weaves into the stories. Like we were talking about race with our bikes and our BMX and skateboards and all. It's not, they aren't items. There's story. There's, and so it does. It was interesting how it kind of came full circle to how important story is to brand. So I thought that was interesting.
All right. So, hey, this is season 6. You are right. I mean, we're at the beginning of season 6. It's a new technique, a new theme, a new little bit. We're going to take current trends and try to make sense of them. Let us know. Are we on the right track? Is this where we should go? Does it suck? If it sucks, we'll go back to the other stuff. But I kind of liked it. I kind of like it.
I really enjoyed this. I like this episode. I really, really enjoyed. So you know what? Hope you guys like it because I really enjoyed it, and we want to keep talking about it this way because I found it fascinating, and the time just blew by. An hour blew by here, so it's kind of fun.
There you go. Hey, another one in the books. We'll see you next week, man.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.